Hello, everyone. Welcome back. And I feel like I'm welcoming you back to a new and improved me because I'm coming off of a ceremony weekend and it really helped me to get to a place that I needed to inside, which I'll explain as we go. But before we start down that path, I wanted to read an email that I got on Facebook, and then it's going to lead into something else. So it's from Steve, and I'm reading it firstly because he's representing our divine masculine. And this weekend in my ceremony that I attended, there was also a presence that was doing that. And I realized the importance of having that centered, grounded influence and, how do I say it? Just existence of a man that is in touch with his feminine side and is open to all things. And the gift that that can bring to us as the feminine is just such a precious thing. So ultimately, we have people like this in our lives, and it's just honoring them when you do come across them and making them feel seen and nurtured in that, right? Instead of judging them of, oh, that guy may be too in touch with his emotions. Or in the case of my friend that I had a ceremony with this weekend, he was saying how all different types of walks of life are attracted to his energy. And the reason is because he's open to everything and he shares his emotions. And I just was reminded about how beautiful that is. So Steve wrote, "Hi, Gabrielle. I've been listening to your podcast for several weeks now, and having started with number 1, I want to say thank you, as I've learned so much from you and your journey. Not only that, but I feel comfortable and resonate with what you describe and what is going on in my life. I've recently become in tune with my own spirituality, and no matter what podcasts I've listened to, I've learned something new, had a question answered, or just felt at ease, and that I'm not the only one out there having these same thoughts and experiences. So thank you, Steve." Now, the reason that I'm reading this is it's a reminder to us all that that's the feeling that is your soul speaking to you, that you are in the right vibration, in the right frequency. And why did that come up? Because right before I went into ceremony this week, I was, really watching what I was watching the entire week because I was on the dieta, and not only do you watch your food and you keep it very mellow on all the things that you're intaking, you also are very conscious of what you're watching because you don't want to go into a ceremony with things on your mind that are not yours, do not belong to you. So that day before the first ceremony, I was watching someone put up a YouTube video that was answering questions, and she has a pretty large following, and people were, asking her questions, and so up till this point I had aligned with her energy. And then someone wrote a question about the vaccine, and the question went something like, what do you recommend for us to do if we have to get the vaccine and we don't have the option of saying no? And I believe it was more for if your work is requiring you to get it. Or, I don't know exactly, but the spiritual person then really disappointed me in her advice. And of course, then again, I was like, what? Why? Why do these spiritual beings that know better emit fear? And I have told you guys from the beginning that we can choose what vibration that we're in, right? You can choose to look at anything from a high point or a low point. And you can choose what the vaccine is to your vessel. We have the power in our bodies in this lifetime to heal anything. So if you choose and you chose to get the vaccine, and this is what the download that I got was that just surround yourself in love and accept it as love, not fear, and you're fine. So she mentions that there are people out there saying that. And then she went on to say, but this is only possible if you're master level healer or master level with energy. And again, it's putting this doubt into who your being is, which she doesn't know your being. So I felt like, why would she be putting fear out there? And then she went on to go into a more depth of why you should be fearful and all of the things, which I think, know what they are. Now, I was disappointed in her, disappointed in me for allowing that energy into my day, especially going into ceremony, but also just feeling like, if you're connected to source, why are you not choosing the high vibration? And I know, because I've had conversations with people, that they believe that their soul is here to dig into the conspiracies and unearth and illuminate things that are wrong in this world. And I get it. Like, I know for me, that's not my vibration. And I know that that's not where my soul wants to live. But when you have a platform and you choose to share information from spirit, which in this case, that's what I had assumed she was doing. But then I realized, no, she's sharing her personal opinion, not a download or not a direction that she's received from spirit. And when you, and me too, when I put people on a pedestal as knowing more than me in this path, then I look to them for certain things, right? And I even got to this place of kind of not doubting myself, because I knew what the download was that I got, but like feeling, could I have gotten it wrong? And then I realized that, no, I did not get it wrong. I know what I put out was correct, because ultimately what I said is that you guys need to tune into it for yourself, but know that you have the power to transmit any energy that you take on into your vessel. And for me, I know that we have the option of seeing something as dark. Think of any subject in the world. There's a dark view, and then there's the light view of it and the accepting view of it. But we have the choice to have the perspective. That's where the free will comes in, right? So what Steve's email resonated with me is that this podcast or this YouTube channel has him feeling better about himself, has him feeling that there is a resonance. And my point of bringing this up is that whenever you are on the path of liking a certain channel or a podcast, and if at any point they start weaving in dark energy, wake up, because that is a thread that then you are ingesting and taking on as yours. And I think because of the timing of that, it really made me tune into what was happening. Obviously, I shut down the video and was like, I need to really process what happened there. And then I had a friend come into town, so I was able to talk it through with her. And I just realized that each person can have the intention of putting out light and to helping with everyone's awakening, but that doesn't mean that their personal views do not influence their words, right? So the point of this is, everything that you consume, try to walk away from it feeling uplifted and feeling that love space. And if you don't, investigate why. There's something in the message that isn't feeling right. And the reason that it doesn't feel right, typically, at least in my experience, is that there's a contradictory of embracing that we are all one, and that literally there is no light and dark. There is only a dense energy and a higher vibration energy. But it all is exactly how it is supposed to be. So you can't look at the vaccine in this example and judge it, because it is in our existence because we've brought it into our existence. Like, the vibration wouldn't be here if we didn't attract it. Now, how do you want to deal with it, right? Like, that's the question, is that do you need to get it? Maybe you don't need to get it. And then this conversation is irrelevant. But if you need to get it for your job, tune into what your soul is telling you, and don't listen to someone else's fear tactics, because that is not real. That's their reality. That is not the reality. And I think that even in this case, and what I say to you guys is I try to come from the place of love, and I know that that's what I allow into my space, and I don't consume dark energies or dense energies, because again, my vibration doesn't resonate with that, and I want to experience downloads that are uplifting and help on this awakening process. So the other thing I would say too is that I've never, not one time, received a download that is of fear, of anger, of like putting doubt. It's never been that way. So also take into account that if anyone is feeding you that information, that is a personal viewpoint. It is not spirit. Spirit would not share fear. It doesn't, because there is nothing to be afraid of. We all chose to be here, and they're just experiences that we chose, almost like puzzles that we chose to figure out, right? But none of it should make you feel fearful, because it's you, and it's like you being mirrored back to you. So what fear is that? So that is what I took on prior to my experience this weekend in ceremony. And I felt like, well, this is happening for a reason too, and I have to embrace that. And I'm so happy that I did, because I could see now that we all are human. We all are putting in our nuances into every content that we make without even maybe mindfully realizing it. So I just know for me now, that person, that channel is not in my vibration anymore. And, it makes me sad a little bit, because I did like the content, but I also know that I am a conscious person, and I am not going to take on stuff that isn't mine. And kind of like what I talked about, I think in a few episodes ago, is I don't put ads and I don't feed information through this channel, because I know you guys are open vessels and you're here to grow. Now, if I choose to put in fear or put in a lower vibration, it's like a mixed message, right? Like, it's like, here you are wide open, and I'm sneaking in on the download, a little thread that you may not even pick up on, because it could be so sneaky that you don't even realize it. But then you walk away, and now you're questioning like things about yourself and about your journey, and about like, wait a minute, if we're all one and it's all love, why should I hate this person? Or why should I judge that person? And why should I say my experience is better than that experience? Or I'm feeling repressed now because that person put that thread into my energy field. So just be careful. That's my point. And I know that if it's happening to me, it's happening for everyone. And I know there are people out there that have the best intentions, but be careful. So then I'm going to talk to you guys about the things that happened for me in my experience with ayahuasca this weekend. And I think I might have mentioned, I wasn't planning to do another ceremony. And I even, actually, I don't know if I've talked about this. I even had told my hairdresser, I think I'm complete for now. Like, we hadn't seen each other since before I went to Costa Rica. So I was telling her the story about Costa Rica, and I was like, and I had another ceremony after that, and I said, but I feel like she's finally not calling me. And within an hour, it came up like out of nowhere. This whole thread came up for me to do a private ceremony, and my mind was not at all prepared or wanting that, because I have always told you guys, like, this is what I'm doing. These are the tools that are helping me, but I am in no way advocating for anyone else to go on this journey, because I believe that the medicines call you when it's your time and when you are open enough to accept them as medicine. So long story short, another person came into, or wanted, let's say, texted me, and we started talking about just me introducing her to my local shaman. And in that second that I mentioned it, I got an email from the shaman, and I was like, and I on my computer, her name came up at the top right as I pushed send on the thing. And I was like, whoa, what happened here? And then I realized, okay, the energy is telling me that they need to be connected. That's what I thought. So I connected them, and that person was like, let's do a private ceremony. And it's so funny. So we start, this ball is moving, we pick a date, and then that original person backed out and she wasn't ready for the experience. And then here I am kind of left with the bag, like, okay, I guess I was supposed to be the one that's doing the ceremony. She was just the catalyst to get it rolling. And anyways, so that's what happened. I didn't think Aya was calling me. I didn't feel that like magnetic pull, but it came in another way because I was like, oh, I don't feel the call. And then, and then it snuck in another way. So, and I'm so happy that it did. And, you know, every single time now, I've done now it 6 times, and it's such a different experience. And I learn another facet of myself. And what I'm finding in this, I feel like I'm the experimenter or the, the investigator of this modality, is that there's so many parts to me that I don't know, and it's such a beautiful way to come in contact with that part of yourself and really know that no one's telling you anything but your soul. And it's like this time to really commune with yourself and Mother Ayahuasca. And when you come out of one of these experiences, there's no doubt, because it's not like you have to believe someone else's story. It's your story. And every single story and every single ceremony is so different. So in the first night for me, prior to the ceremony, I had gotten this message that I needed to really cleanse my body. And for me, that meant I did 4 days of a juice cleanse, and then I took, I think, 4 days off, and then I did another 4 days of juice cleanse. Now, my intestines have always had issues, and that's why I drink celery juice every day. It helps keep everything flowing. But I had this intuitive feeling that I needed to completely clear out my intestines, and I didn't know why. I was just like, all right, I guess I'm gonna do that. And so the first night, there was so much healing in my womb space and in my intestines. And I'm talking like there was bubblings of energy that were just coming out of me. And I know that there was healing that needed to be done in that part of my body. So, and then it was just a super mellow experience. But I got one download, and I actually was unsure if I was going to share this, because it kind of took me completely by surprise that even I was like, oh, I can't tell anybody this. But it applies for all of us. So what I asked is, I want to see if I know there's other beings around us, right? But in our visuals, we don't see them. So I said, I'm ready to see you. And I think there are many people that are ready to see you. So why don't you show yourself? And then I got the message. For me, it feels like a download, even in ayahuasca, that we already are here. And I was like, okay, but why don't you show us who you are? And they said, we already do. And I was like, And then I got a visual of, this is where it gets a little controversial. They are, imagine the movie Avatar. They are in our pets. They are our animals. They are the things that we love the most. And I was like, what? And then it was, can you think of a better way to understand the human race? And I was like, they said, you accept us into your life as if we're your children. We're everything. We see the love. We see the compassion. We see the hate. We know it's like they're using our animals as, and I don't think it's a using, no, but they are the vessels of the animals, because there is no other way for them to be in our houses, welcomed into our houses, and know exactly what the temperature of our planet is. And And then I was just like, I mean, it makes so much sense. I was like, oh, okay. And then I remember being like, well, then is Richard one of you guys? Because he's here to protect the animals. He's a veterinarian. And they said, of course. And I remember in the moment of feeling like, it takes a minute to wrap around. But then as time went on, I was like, it makes perfect sense, because how we've heard that the alien beings are here to support us, right? We know they're here but they can't interfere with our free will. Well, animals don't talk, do they? And they made that very clear. They're here to observe and give love. And we can tune into that, and we can be a part of it and take that nurturing as it is, right? But they can't interfere with our free will. So how better to be a part of this experience with us than to literally be in our houses and giving us that love condition and unconditionally every day. So yeah, I was like, I get it. Yeah, it makes sense. And I in the next ceremony was even asking like more details, but in general, I just want you guys to know that they are here. They are a part of us. We embrace them as us, right? Like I don't have children, but my dogs are my children. And I always say like, I couldn't love them more as if they came out of my body, because they are part of me. And then I also realized that they are part of me because they came here to support me. Like if you think back to when you had that magical moment of meeting the right animal that you have in your life. Like I'm going to give the example of my dog Penny. When I met her in the shelter, I just knew she is mine. I just knew so deeply. But we were actually staying at my mom's house for 2 weeks because we had just sold our condo and we're moving into our house. And there was like 2 weeks of escrow that we had to stay at my mom's. And Richard, we were at the shelter together, and Richard said, if she's still here in 2 weeks when we have our house, yeah, we'll get her. But we can't just bring her home to your mom's house, because Penny is a Vizsla pit bull. So I was like, okay. And we went home, and they have a website so I could track. And of course, someone adopted her the next day. And I felt just devastated about it. And I felt like, maybe she wasn't what I thought, but I still had like this hope about it. And then that was like on a Sunday. And then on that Friday, I was in the car driving with someone, and I was like, she said, let's go see who they have now. And so I said, okay, pull up their website and see who's there. And sure enough, and Penny's name was Venus in their website, and she was back. And I like grabbed my phone and I called them and I said, is Venus back? And they said, yeah, the people that adopted her brought her back. I'm like, I'm coming right now. She is mine, and I know it. So I just got on the freeway, got there, and it was like, again, just love at first sight. And I knew that she was meant to be in our life. And the people returned her because she has some pit bull in her and they didn't want that. And there she is now. So she definitely was meant to be ours. And it's funny because both Richard and I have such a deep connection with her. And I know that, yeah, it was like for sure meant to be. So when I look into her eyes, I see myself and I see love and I see such support. And so hearing this now that they are literally here to support us through our animals is just perfect. It's perfect. And one of the other big things that I got, so the next night, because the first night was so much healing done on my body, and I just flowed with it. That was the only big message that I got. So the next night, it was completely different. Like I said, every single experience is so different. But the next night was such an intense night. And it was so I've never gone this deep in the medicine. And by that, I mean like, at the beginning point, I couldn't move my body and it was just full psychedelic. Like I was just like, and I was like, I took too much. Like I just kept thinking like, oh, holy shit, hold on. And, then I was able to write that part out. And then I got to the state of allowing the energy to flow. And even, so I asked, I wanted to know, first I'm going to say the hand signals were there both nights. So I was like, and in the Icaros, or the songs that the shaman is singing, every note feels like a little gift to your soul. And I know that's such a weird thing to say, but remember last week I said it's so hard to put these things into words. But the Icaros are literally the sounds that tune up our instruments, or our vessels, back to the optimal place. So each note, literally, it feels like your body is eating it up. Like, thank you, I'll take that. And like, it's like, I can't even explain in words what a beautiful, delicious experience it is. Okay. And I've never had anything more. Imagine like if you went to a sound healing, but literally every pore in your body is wide open and it's eating the sounds. Okay. And I remember feeling like, oh my God, like it feels so good. It's like heaven. So then also my higher being in the second night actually came into my body. And I know when that happens because it feels like it's not me, but it is me. Like I feel comfortable, but I also feel like it's so much more freer. And if you probably are noticing actually that me right now is being way more freer than I normally am. And I'm going to explain why. So in that space, I was told, or I was shown that I need to start working on melting my mind. And I was like, okay. And that the mind is a tool, like any tool, like a car or food or all these things that we use as human beings. But it is not at all who we are. And I know that when I record, I get anxious. I get like, and you guys know normally I'm like, and this, and I'm scared because I feel like my personality starts to come out and my ego is like, why are you doing this? And why are you putting yourself out there like this? But in the ceremony, I was just shown that part of me is like slowly letting go of the grasp of this body, and that I need to welcome that in. And I went through like asking questions of, what does that mean? You mean like the way that I'm recording, the way that I present myself? Because think about all of that. Like, I don't wear makeup every day, but when I do these recordings, I have makeup on because I think, well, I'm supposed to have makeup on. And the truth is like, so that part is part of my personality or my facade. It is not me. Me normally is like with a ponytail and in my leggings and, that's my life because I'm with dogs all day and usually I go to the beach and I don't usually like do my hair and stuff every day. But that's the vessel's desire to look that way. But ultimately they were, I always say they because it feels like it's more, I told you guys, it's my past lives, it's my higher self, it's all of the guidances that I use for this experience, that those things are not who I am. And I know that we can say that in words again, but to actually experience it made me realize that there's so much more of me that wants to come through, but my mind was just holding on so tightly to who I think I am. And it feels like appearance and also how wide will I be open, or how much will I share, or how vulnerable can I be? I guess, yeah, that's probably what it is. So they showed me like I need to completely melt into this experience of everything, of all of the pieces of me. And then I asked, where am I from? Because I don't think I've ever asked anyone that, I've never asked my own records that, but in this moment I felt like I was ready to know for some reason. And the answer is Vega, and I don't know a lot about Vega. I do know, and I actually am going to insert a photo here if you're watching the YouTube channel. A couple of weeks ago, a friend of mine sent me a picture, and I don't know if I've spoken about this before, but of Debbie Solaris has a website, and she has a picture on her website that has beings doing my hand signal. And I remember when I saw it being like, I knew it. I know that it's an alien signal, and I know it's where I'm from. So yeah, so they confirmed I'm from Vega. And I asked, like, can you tell me more? And how this works is I'll put that out there, or in my mind, I'm not asking with my mouth. It's like communicating with telepathy. Do you want to show me more? And I didn't get any more. So I guess that's all I need for now. And so then I asked, can you show me more about the Matrix? And it's funny because if I was expecting it to kind of just be like a package of a download, but the way that this came through is that they showed me energy moving as like around in a sphere, and then it broke off and started doing the infinity kind of loop, and then back around and doing like this kind of motion. But imagine not in this, like where my hands are doing it now, in planets. So it was like literally the size of the planet, the energy going around a planet and then going around another planet. And they were saying that energy is always moving. And I was like, okay, I got it. And then I kind of have to like wait. And I'm thinking, are they going to show me what the Matrix is? And then the way that it came in is a visual of my body. But I felt like I was like back here kind of watching me as a vessel. And my body then broke up into all of these lines, like... well, imagine if we're in a matrix, we are matter and we look like we have skin and all of that, but literally we're lines of energy. So it looked like my body, but sliced up into zillions of energy threads. And then through that, the threads were connected to this matrix. And they said the matrix is basically the computer that helps the vessel to know what it's doing. It's literally a web of information back to the vessel. And that the matrix itself is what we all are connected to, right? I just happened to see it. And I asked, why can I see it then? And they said, because you have become a beacon or an antenna that is tying other people back to their energy ports, or I guess, like, how would you say that in computer language? Like mainframe? I don't know. So I'm able to see it because I'm helping people remember that is part of them, and that they are supposed to be in tune with it. And like I had said before, the spheres, like the downloads I had gotten before, is that the spheres are each one of us. Yes, that's true. They just showed it in a different way, and how the vessel connects to that grid. And that, again, I see the vibration that is similar to mine, and so I see you guys in those points. And the deeper that you come into your awakening and your understanding of being part of that energy grid, because again, we are just energy, it comes online. And then it's like, once you start listening to those, they're not directions, but let's say downloads or intuitions, you connect stronger to that space. So then I was like, okay, so let's say someone's a writer and they're putting out their content and helping people connect to their original source. Would they see the Matrix? And then they said, not always, not everyone is here to see it. I actually did have just a conversation today with someone who was taking a mushroom trip and actually could see it. So it's that the freer the more you free yourself from your mind or your ego, the more easy it is for you to get through these veils and see what actually is, okay? So they said it's not, even though someone is an antenna and helping people, sharing this information, helping people connect back to who they are, it doesn't mean that they just see it. It's that you have to also accept that you need to melt your mind. You have to let go of the attachments that make us who we are. I had seen this actually also. I went to Sedona a few weeks ago, and I had seen that it's almost like the mind is like, okay, if our vessel is an ice cream sundae, and that's all good and great, the mind is the chocolate fudge that kind of like seeps down on top of the ice cream. And what that does is it clouds that communication back to the mainframe or the matrix. Now, we all are meant to have that fudge because those are the karmas, those are the lessons that we came to learn in this life, so that's all perfect. But what happens is that it makes it cloudy or muddy, and we have to work through our stuff in order to be clear again, to get back to why we're here. So basically, it's possible for everyone to see the matrix the deeper that they work on their stuff. Right? The deeper that they go into the things that are uncomfortable, or they realize that a judgment on someone else is just a judgment on you. There's a facet of you that carries that vibration that you don't like. And so you see it in another person. It's attracted to you so that you can see it in another person. And then you have the choice of judging it or accepting it as, I see that part I'm seeing it mirrored back to me, that part of myself that I'm uncomfortable with, and can I look at that and heal that? And that is what helps to melt away that chocolate fudge. And if you get to that state, and like I said, we all have the potential to do this. There is no master level, and I am no better than anyone else. It's just I am able to work through it. Now, the reason why I've been seeing the Matrix since October, so this isn't the full reason why I see the Matrix, but I also was shown the reason that I don't have a lot of stuff to still work through in this lifetime, meaning like past hurts. I'm sure I've mentioned before, I don't have a lot of memories, and they showed me that the reason is because, and I've told you guys this before, I am a walk-in soul. And when that soul came in, it almost like not wiped away the memories, because I know who I am. I know my personality. That is all intact. But when that new soul came in, it's kind of like it just allowed that energy, that denseness to kind of whoosh away. And basically they said, it's just not important. We're here to move forward. We don't need to go backwards. Why do I believe that that's part of being a walk-in soul is because I think that with that energy, obviously there's more work that I'm here to do that doesn't include my past. Now, I don't yet really know, me, I'm taking it day by day, but, in that ceremony this weekend, I had friends and they each had things that came up for them that does include the past, and that does require things to look into and threads that need to be healed. Like my threads that came up are still jumping on other people's energy. And that is because I am so open as a vessel, and I'm going to insert my human design here so you can see what my body looks like. But I am 100% open in my identity and in my emotions. And so for me, getting onto other people's energy threads feels like second nature, because I don't care. I don't have my own identity. I don't have my own emotions. And those things make it so easy almost for me to just think it's mine and think like, oh yes, this resonates because it feels like mine. But the truth is it's not mine. And I am still learning how to differentiate my own energy from others. And so that's the one lesson that came up for me in this ceremony, but it doesn't, that's more of a current issue that I'm working on. I don't have things in the past. So yeah, they said it's because I'm a walk-in. Okay. So, let's see. I basically just wanted you guys to know that the thing that I was mostly gifted with is that I need to melt who I think I am and be more freer with who I actually am. So, what does that mean for me? Today, and why I am even in this more flow state right now and not so self-conscious and nervous, is because today is the first day that I have decided, and I actually did, microdose psilocybin. Now, that I wasn't seeking it, and it's not something that I really was even conscious of. And a friend of mine brought it into my life a few weeks ago, and it felt like there's a reason this is coming in. And then, I did some research looking into it. What does this even do? I have no idea. And obviously I checked in with my guides or myself, and it's a tool to help me realize the difference between letting my anxieties, my tight grasp to this ego state release a little. And obviously it came into my life without me seeking it, which again, I believe that plant medicines do that on their own. You don't need to seek anything. But as you're listening to this now, I believe that this is time for you to understand the tools of how you can start releasing the identity that you believe you are. So today is my first day, and I think I'm going to do an actual episode on what this means next week, but just know that it's such a minuscule amount. It's not like a psychedelic trip in any way. You don't see anything. It's not anything like that. It's more, it feels like you just get into your groove. You feel like, I didn't realize I had anxiety. Actually, I'll say that. I know when I would sit down to record, I'd be nervous for sure. But I don't remember feeling like I had anxiety. And what I see now is that I did. I mean, yeah, I did. Because what it feels like today is just me coming through, the actual me. And it feels good. It feels like I'm in my groove state. And music, like I was listening to music and cooking food for the dogs today and just feeling like an enjoying of every moment. And the chatter in my head is less, and I just feel like aligned to my actual soul. And I am obviously sharing this because I think that it's time for other people to know about this. And I think it's very popular, actually. Maybe I'm the last one to know. I don't know. But it's something that, yes, I'm going to be introducing and talking about next week. So that is why I am going to be much more freer and much more open to whatever flows through. And I'm not going to be filtering it or needing notes to discuss it. And all of those things feel like I can just set them down, because I know that when I am in this place, I feel like it's just me. There's no need to go through the filter of the 3D communication. It just feels freer. So I am so happy to be back in this state, and I feel like, I feel aligned. I feel so aligned after this last ceremony, and I just feel like just love. And I actually want to mention too, in this last weekend, one of my closest friends did go join the ceremony as well. And she's new to her awakening process. And what I saw through her eyes and her experiences, is that ayahuasca is so gentle for wherever you are in your journey. It is the perfect medicine, in my opinion, for everyone on every stage of the path, because it literally connects you back to you and the things that you need to pay attention to. And for her, like, my trip was all over the place as usual, and I even purged one night, and it was like intense. Hers was just it, like, because you have integration circle the next day, and hers was just felt like so like deeply loving and nourishing. And again, I know that Aya gives you what you can handle. She's not going to give you what you can't handle. And it made me feel more confident in talking about this medicine as a healer. It's such a deep healer. And people talk about it being something to be fearful of, or it's a lot. Not if you're not ready for it. And that's the honest to God truth, is that each night she was shown different things, but so gently. And, you know, I know, like, she already is like, I'm definitely doing this again. So just take that from my heart to yours and start calling it in. And what I believe is that when you call in these allies, they show up. They show up for you. I've talked about before, you can do microdosing, which I will link below. I now know 2 microdoses that are 2 places that sell microdosing of Aya that is without the psychedelic in it. So it's just communing with the plant medicine, and it's opening yourself up to the possibilities of having allies to help you get to that flow state and out of your mind. And I'm telling you guys, it feels so just delicious. I am going to be doing the Energy Tribe chats this Friday. It starts at 2:30 Pacific time. And again, if you're looking for community to just explore topics and start to realize that this group of women and hopefully men are the most nurturing for your soul that I've ever experienced. And I've talked about them before, but knowing that if I'm the beacon, it just pulled in other like-minded vibrations that are so much vaster than me as a group that it's just, I'm in awe of it. We would love to have you, and know that you will be held and nurtured and just accepted for who you are. So I would love to see you there, and just know that it's a safe space for everyone. And if you aren't able to make the time, they are also recorded, so I do put them on the YouTube channel. But know that the energy when you're in the space is something that you'll realize that is your soul's been looking for your whole life. That's how I feel. Like I can't, it's so, again, hard to put into words, but it is just perfect. So I really hope to see you there.